Fed up of floor robes, driven to distraction and drowning with doom boxes? Tired of living in chaos? Welcome to Decluttering Untangled, how to declutter when you're overwhelmed, ADHD or autistic. I'm going to help you uncover the secrets to decluttering, no matter what hurdles you face. You'll discover how to declutter, de-stress and transform your world. I'm Heather Tingle, reformed hoarder, neurodivergent declutter queen, and your guide through the maze of mess. Let's get untangled. Hello, Untanglers, and welcome to another episode of Decluttering Untangled with me, your host, Heather Tingle. Now, today's episode is thanks to my lovely Untangling Facebook community that asked this question, but also it's a problem I see so frequently in clients' homes when I'm doing one-to-one as well. Now, the question that was asked was, what systems help for getting rubbish or recycling out of the house or kitchen, especially when you don't have access to the big bins without going through the house or out into the garden and then through the garage, or if you're in a flat or apartment and the big bins are quite a way away. And I really love this question because this is something that happens so often and no one seems to talk about how hard it is to get your rubbish and recycling out of the house. So I think it's important to understand why it happens and why you're not alone in this at all and what we can do about it. Now, I am not going to tell you that I am going to be your recycling fairy and wave a magic wand and it all be easy for you. It isn't, but there are some ways that you can minimise how difficult it can be. So, why tasks like taking out the rubbish or recycling can feel so hard? The first one is it's like a new task to do. So we usually only notice that it needs doing when we're in the middle of another task. So we're in the middle of cooking tea, we're in the middle of making a cup of tea, we're in the middle of going through the house doing something else, and then we notice it needs doing. We can't stop that task halfway through because transitioning between tasks, if you are neurodivergent, is really, really hard. But also, it doesn't make sense to stop doing the task that you're doing to then take the rubbish out, because you'll forget what you're doing if you're anything like me and forget what the original task was that you were doing. So that is one of the reasons that task initiation, don't think that's the right word, but transitioning between tasks is really hard. Then you add into that prioritisation struggles. So it's never going to be a priority. Whatever you're doing right now is the priority, and that pile of paper or card or glasses or whatever on the side was there yesterday, it's okay to be there tomorrow. Like, stop worrying about it in your brain. But then you also have the issue of object permanence. So it's there all the time. You kind of forget that it exists. And you can see by me talking about all these things, it's not just being lazy. You're not being lazy as to why it doesn't get done. So hopefully I can break it down into a few smaller steps for you to make it a little bit easier for you to have a clutter-free, recycle-free kitchen more often. The first thing that you want to do is containerize. Whenever you have lots of individual objects, it always makes it look more cluttered than what it actually is. And containerizing is a really clever way to make yourself feel that you're more organized and more order and you've got your stuff together. Now, whether that's a box or a bag, bags, I think personally work better because it's easy for you to pick them up to get them out of the house, so it's one less stress. But whatever works for you, whatever you've got to hand right now as well, really makes a difference. So if you don't containerize, what happens is you keep piling stuff up and it kind of becomes like a cardboard or paper or glass Jenga. Then it takes over half the kitchen and it becomes overwhelming. So it becomes more of a problem, more of a bigger job, more time, not going to do it, put it off. And also it gets in the way of having a really clear kitchen counter as well. So ideally, a box or a bag. Once again, I love a bag for life. You know me, I think they're brilliant. But bag for life can be the perfect size for this. Ideally a small one though, because what you don't want is to be so big, it contains so much, it then becomes a big job. You want it to be quite small. But the size will really vary upon the size and volume of items that you're wanting to recycle and how often you get them. So for cardboard and paper, is there something that you get frequently that you can use to house the cardboard and paper that can then go straight in the bin? So can you get a cardboard box? Do you get a cardboard box? So for example, if you have a delivery every single week, might be like a HelloFresh or a Gusto box, can you use that as the paper and cardboard recycling? And chuck all your cardboard, chuck all your recycling in, and then when the new one comes, the old one then is the trigger for putting it straight into the bin. So you don't have to empty it, it's literally going straight in there. So for one of my clients, for example, they ordered a McDonald's breakfast on Uber Eats or Just Eat or wherever for themselves and their family every single week as like a treat. So they used the big paper bag it came in for the following week's paper and cardboard recycling. Once it gets full, go straight in the bin with it all, and it made it really simple. So what have you got around your home at the moment that you can use to containerize the recycling? Don't make it too big because that causes a problem. Don't make it too small because then you will fill it too quickly and you're not going to want to empty every single day. But also look at the frequency. How often do you need to remove the stuff from your home? So at what point does it get too much stuff, too full or too smelly? Like find your sweet spot of how often it needs to be removed. If it changes from week to week, then you need to look at your routines instead and create a timed routine, like something you do every week or every 3 days or once a fortnight, for example. So create a routine. Look at when your bin day is, for example. So for me, bin day is a Tuesday. Therefore, every Monday, I empty the recycling. And I've got 2 small bins by the front of my door, which makes it easier for me to do it. Look at when the box or the bag becomes full and use that as your trigger to remind you to take it out. So if you didn't get much that week, then you would use your timed day to remove it. Or it might be that you see, actually, this has got to a full level, I need to empty it now. Which one will work better for you? Is it when it's going to be full or is it a timed thing? Now, if you're using a timed thing, so you want it as a routine, so look at when you can maybe habit stack it to something that you already do. So do you do a food shop on the same day every week, for example? Get used to taking the recycling out on the way to the car or transport to that task. Or if mornings are too rushed and you're never going to be able to do it in the morning because trying to get hard to get out of the house, make a routine for every evening when you get home before you get settled to take the rubbish out as soon as you get in. What do you do maybe once a week? So it might be once a week you take your child to football practice, for example. So can you make it as part of your routine that when the kids are getting their shoes on, you are emptying the bins on that day? One of the easiest things that you can do to make life easier for yourself, it's not always this easy for everybody, I understand, but can you move the big bins closer to your door? Can you make them closer to the kitchen or a place that you pass frequently? It helps you remove a step that way, especially if you're socially anxious like me and getting out there is hard and making it a struggle to put things in your bins because you maybe get that awful paranoia that people are looking at you, or you don't want to go out in your pajamas and slippers, so you won't do it. You think you'll do it another day. So is there a way that you can make the bins closer to the door? It might be that you put them to a different door, so they might be around the back of your house, so you might move them to the front, or vice versa. Is there a way that you can move the bins to make it easier for you? I also know that some clients don't put stuff into the bins, but might save things for recycling at either a shop, for example, maybe one that takes soft plastic, or you might save things that are harder to recycle that maybe your council don't take. Now, this is a really, really lovely thing to do, but I would not be doing my job properly if I did not have a warning about this. It can cause extra clutter and extra stress if you're already adding to an already full list. Now, if this is you, then seriously think, can you pause doing it for a little bit until you get on top of your home declutter more? If not, that's okay. Maybe use today's tips to make life easier too, and find ways to containerize them and create either a timed routine or a habit stacking routine to make it easier for you. Okay, I hope that's given you some things to think about to make it easier. Don't forget, do pop into the community group if you've got any questions like this that need answering. I will give you some suggestions, and if it doesn't work, just let me know and I'll see if I can find some other suggestions for you. I'm happy to explore with you to find ways to make your life easier. So until next time, be kind to yourself, remember you are not alone, and keep untangling. Thanks for joining me for today's episode of Decluttering Untangled. If you found anything that I've said today helpful, please do me a favour, hit that subscribe button or leave me a review. It's like receiving a virtual high five that keeps me going and lets me know that I'm helping real people out there and I'm making a difference. Please remember, you're not alone in this. I'm building a community of fellow untanglers over on Facebook. Just visit the show notes for the link to my free decluttering community. So until next time, remember, you're not alone, you're not lazy, you can untangle your life.